Today I'll be going over this 2017 December bronze problem 1. It's called Billboard, and so basically it's about Bessie, who's a cow, and she likes to stare at two huge rectangular billboards while she's grazing. But unfortunately, one day there's a truck that comes in and blocks part of the board's view. So she wants to know how much of the board can she still see when given the coordinates of the truck and the two boards. So this is essentially what's given here. So this is the coordinates of the first board, the coordinates of the second board, and the coordinates of the truck. And you're supposed to give an output that says how much of the board can she still see, right? So uh, this is the input. Like that's the way the input is given to us, and so I'll be showing you on the whiteboard how to do this. Yeah, so here I just drew the key, and it's indicating that the first board would be drawn in blue, second in red, and the truck will be in black. And then here I drew I wrote the positions of each the coordinates of each board and truck. This will be right here. This will be the bottom left, and this will be the top right. X1, Y1, and X2, Y2. And here is the graph of the truck. So the black indicates the truck, and the red and blue are the corresponding boards. And here you can see there's a clear intersection, and the intersections are right here and right here. So how will we go to solve this problem? So one way we can, let me just clear this board for a second. So one way we can try to solve this is by finding the full area of the board, of each board, the red and the blue one, and then subtracting the intersection of the truck from it. So here we can say the area of the board is equal to, is the length is 2 and the height is 3, so 2 times 3 is 6. And the area for this one will be 4 times 4 equals 16. So now that we know the area, we know the total area is equal to 6 plus 16 is equal to 22. And now all we gotta do is just find the area of this intersection, find the area of this intersection, and then subtract, and then add these two together, and then subtract that from the total area. So how would we find a way to find the area of this intersection right here? So what we can do is that we can say we know that the x2 will always be greater than the x1, and we know that the y2 will always be greater than the y1. So what we want is that we want the minimum of the x2 and the maximum of the x1s, and then when we subtract them, hopefully it will give us a positive number, which means that there is an intersection. So let's try that out. Let's say the minimum between 3 and 8 is 3, and the maximum between 1 and 2 is 2. So let's say 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. So the overlap in the x is 1, and that is true here. The overlap in the x is 1. The truck is the truck x is 2, and the board x is 3, and that's the overlap. It's an overlap of 1 unit. And then we have to do the same thing for y. You can say you want to find the minimum in the y units, in the y's, in the y2, and the maximum in the y1. So the minimum in the y2 will be 3, and the maximum in the y2 will be 2, or the y1 will be 2. So then the overlap in the y is also 1, which makes sense here because the board is right here and the truck's y is right there, and that is the intersection of unit 1. So if you, and now, so since we have this, we have the x overlap here and the y overlap here. To find the area, it's very simple. We can just multiply these two, and we get an overlap of 1 area. And now we can do the same thing for board number 2. We can say what is the minimum in the x2s, and the minimum will be 8, and what is the maximum in the x1s, and the maximum will be 6. So it will be 8 minus 6 is equal to 2, and that is the x overlap, and that is true here. That is right. And then we do the same thing for the y overlap. The minimum in the y2 is 3, and the maximum in the y2 in the y1 is 1. So 3 minus 1 will give us a y overlap of 2, and that's also right. So multiply these two, we'll get 2 times 2 is, 2 is equal to 4. So that means that the overlap here is 2 times 2. So this area here is 4, and the area here is 1, which means that 4 plus 1 equals 5, and that is the total intersections between the truck and the two boards. And now since we have the total area, we can just do 22 minus 5, and that equals 17. And that is your answer. That is how much of the board is still visible despite the truck blocking 5 units of space. So what is the formula that we got here in the above example? We said we wanted the minimum of the x2s. So for the x overlap, we want the minimum of the x2s, and we want to subtract that by the maximum of the x1, right? But there's also another problem, and the problem is that what if this difference results in a negative number? And so that means that there is no intersection if it results in a negative number, which means that you also want to find if it's negative. If it's negative, then there's no intersection, and if it's not negative, that means there is an intersection, right? And then the same thing for y. Y, you just do the minimum of y2 minus the maximum of y1. And it's the same thing. If it's negative, that means negative or 0, that means that there's no intersection. If it's greater than 0, that means it is an intersection. So this is our formula for for finding out the answer to this problem. And then finding the area of each board is very simple. We can just say it's just y2 minus y1 times x2 minus x1. And this works because we are guaranteed that that x2 will be greater than x1 and y2 will be greater than y1. And we can do the same thing for the for board number 2 and the truck. So once we have this area, we can just use a simple formula and then add up these two areas, and then minus the intersections of both board and truck, and that is your answer. So now I'll be showing you how to actually code that. Yeah, so now let's go to the code, and I've already made an input file that has the inputs. And now let's just I'm going to be coding in C++, but you can use any language you want. It's the same method. And so first, let's just include everything we need. So now let's take in the inputs, so using if stream. Right, and then since that's done, just like we decided in the whiteboard portion of the video, we can just use 3 arrays and each array has 4 elements each. So we can say an integer array of call it first board, and it has 4 elements, and you can make the same thing for the second board with 4 elements, and the third board or the truck. And so the array will have the x1, x2, the x1, y1, and the x2, y2. So now what we can do is we can just say we can have a for loop instead of having to write or type every single time. We can just say have a for loop to take in to take the inputs from the file and then put it right into the array. So you can say f into the first board of I, and this will do that. And just copy this for the second board and the truck. Okay. So now that is done, we can so first we have to find the area of the first board and the second board. So now we can just do find area of first board. And how we do that, we can just So it's the inputs will be in x1, y1, x2, y2. So we need to do to find area is all we need to do is a is equal to x2 minus x1 multiplied by y2 minus y1. So now we can do that by saying let's create an integer called first board, or say board 1 area is equal to x2 is the second element or the third element, but computer coding wise is the second element in the array. So we can say it is first board of 2 minus first board of x1 is the 0th element, so of 0. Right, and then multiplied by second first board of y2 is the third element minus first board of 1, which is y1. y1 will be the first element in the array. So now I can just copy this whole thing here and do the same for board 2. Change everything to second board. Yeah, okay. So now we found the area of the boards. Now all we had to do is just find the intersection. So what we can do is you can say find, or actually we still had to find the area for second board. I'll just take this over here. Find area of second board and paste this over there. Okay. So now we have the area of both the boards. So now what we can do is all we do is find the intersection. So find intersection of first board and the truck. Yeah. So the x intersection here. So the x intersection would be the maximum of 0 and this part over here, whatever you're going to put here. So we're going to put the minimum of this element right here, x2, and x2 of the first board and x2 of the truck. So we want first board of 2 minus, or first board of 2 comma the truck's x2. So we want the minimum of those two, and we want to minus that by the maximum of the x1. So we want the first board of 0 comma truck of 0. So now this should give us the x intersection for the first board. So let's say board, say truck 1 x intersection. And we can do the same thing for the y, right? We can just do truck with board 1 y intersection is equal to min of the first board and the x2, the y2 and the truck's y2, and also the first board's y1 and the truck's y1. Right, and then now that we have the intersection, the first board and the truck, we can do the same thing for the intersection between find intersection of second board and truck. So we put this here. We can say truck with board 2, and instead of saying first board everywhere, we can do second board. Now we have the intersections between the truck and the first board and the truck and the second board. So now that we have that, we can just say how do you find the area of the two intersections? the area of the two intersections, we can say truck 1 x intersection times this part here, the x times the y, right? It's the same thing as it's the same thing as the area right here. Same method that we use for the area. So let's make sure. Yes, that's it. Okay, so area of intersections is that. So we can just say board truck 1 area is equal to that. And then truck 2 area is equal to the intersection between truck 2, truck and board 2. Okay, now that we have the area, and now that we have the intersections, the areas, and the board areas, all we had to do is just say f out, or we're writing to an output file where it's going to say board 1 area plus board 2 area, and this right here will give the total area for both board 1 and board 2. And this means that there is no intersection, but we want to see what happens if the truck is blocking it. So now we say minus minus the intersection. So now the intersection area actually. So now we just say truck 1 area, and then again minus truck 2 area, because you want to minus the area that it's being overlapped. And I just do it and L. Just a couple changes I made because for some reason I had some problems. So instead of doing bits stdc+, I just did iostream and fstream, and then I also had some simple errors where I just didn't initialize the variables. So I just put int here and 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 int here. So now this should work, and let's see if it works or not. Okay, so we finally come to the submission part after some errors in the compilation. So I've set this language to C++ and uploaded the file, and hopefully this should work. See. Okay, yeah, okay. So I hope this video was interesting to you, and more importantly, I hope it was useful to you. And this is a pretty simple problem, but it's one of those problems that can be done in multiple ways. So I just hope you found this useful, and thank you for watching.